Before we get into today's video, let me just take like 10 seconds to tell you about this. Humble Monthly currently offers Destiny 2 in this month's bundle. It's a gaming subscription that costs $12, you get new games every month that are yours to keep, and if you use my affiliate link in the description below, I'll even get some money if you buy it. I'll talk a bit more about it at the end of this video as this is not a sponsored segment, but again, I do get money if you buy it through my link. Anyway, more details at the end, let's jump into today's topic. Does anyone ever tire of the discussions surrounding balance in Overwatch? Like, don't get me wrong, the first tank meta, the first dive meta, and especially the more recent mercy meta, all these things in their first iteration were completely broken. Now we look back at these things and pretend that they were not so bad after all, because we dread what we are dealing with right now. Fact is that, yes, all these things were ruining the game in their own way at the time that they were dominating competitive play. However, the fact that we are now able to run all these different compositions from tank heavy to mobility focused to even comps that rely on mercy shows that a lot of the things that were once broken have eventually found a place in the game. What really grinds my gears personally is when, again, people say that these previous meta trends were not so bad only because they don't like the new thing that they are dealing with. Brigitte has recently been introduced to competitive play and we already have plenty of statements from many players foreseeing the end of Overwatch period. That this game is going to be dead within a month if nothing changes. I don't want to lie to you here, I have not been actively competing on ladder in about 2 seasons now, at least not on my main account. Quite frankly, the solo queue experience has been so inherently broken since launch that eventually I just did not want to deal with it anymore. I don't care about my master's rank, I don't care about grinding to try and stay in GM anymore, and the last thing I care about are bragging rights. In fact, I am completely content with playing new heroes on a completely new account while 6-stacking with my friends. And you know why? Because it feels like I am playing Overwatch. Jumping into competitive play again last night after watching a few live streams, I honestly was astonished over, well, the lack of Overwatch being played. You see, I completely understand the feeling of your main hero no longer being fun to play due to a shift in meta trends. When Dive was first taking over, I did not enjoy playing Zenyatta anymore, and I made Closet Zenyatta one trick. It's not like he wasn't strong at the time, he was. But the fact that my chance for victory was relying entirely on whether or not 5 random people could figure out to either dive or peel properly was just frustrating. So I do emphasize with Genji and Tracer mains who, for all intents and purposes, have been maining heroes that have been more or less meta throughout the entire lifespan of Overwatch. It's weird to suddenly have people say that a hero like Tracer is a throw pick because the enemies are running a Brigitte death ball. And it doesn't feel fair that a hero that takes as little mechanical skill as that can stomp you into the ground while you are blood, sweat and tears trying to frag for your team. I do not want to make it look like I disagree with the notion that Brigitte needs to change. I too think that in her current state, she makes the ladder a miserable place to play in, especially in solo queue. The fact that she makes her team borderline unkillable, the fact that she introduces more crowd control, and the fact that all she has to do is hold mouse 1 to send you back to the spawn room all make her a frustrating hero to deal with. But the biggest problem I've currently observed is the lack of counterplay that's being utilized to shut this new threat down. It is absolute nonsense to say that Brigitte is a must pick on every map, and it's also nonsense to say that she is impossible to deal with. A minority of players have long figured out that dive compositions can still work in a lot of circumstances due to, as I've already discussed many times already, map design. And those are the same players that obviously read the weaknesses of their new introduction to the hero pool by outranging her with heroes like Junkrat and Pharah. Something that has always grinded my gears was the sheer level of entitlement sides of many DPS players that I had on my team, or even those I've seen demand hero swaps from others when watching a livestream. For some reason, it is completely fine to expect a, let's say, Ana or Lucio main to swap to a Mercy. It doesn't matter if that player says that they don't want to play Mercy because they don't enjoy her playstyle, or that they say they don't have any hours on her and thus would rather stay on a strong pick. But the moment a DPS player is expected to get their ass off of Genji to play a Pharah or Junkrat to utterly destroy a tank-heavy deathball type composition, it is completely fine for them to say that they will never play them because they presumably don't take skill. Listen guys, I know that feeling. I played Moira when I didn't want to, and I played Mercy when I didn't want to because it was objectively the one decision that I as an individual could make to help my team win. And that despite the fact that Zenyatta is my strongest pick. If you are a DPS player and you hate this meta because you main heroes like Genji, Tracer or Soldier 76, you're better off waiting for a new patch or learning how to play Junkrat and Pharah. When you play competitively, you are expected to do whatever it takes to win. And I know that this type of mentality is not quite that widespread, because Blizzard is saying that it's fine for us to play only our favorite heroes, but this is the reality of what competitive play looks like. You can bitch and moan about how something is broken because you can no longer play your favorite hero, or you'll learn how to play their counters. And again, I do acknowledge and agree that Brigitte needs to be tuned and that these changes need to happen quickly. Because counter or not, she simply makes the game unfun to play in a similar way that Mercy did. Ultimately, I think it's time for Blizzard to introduce more heroes with a higher skill floor and raise the bar for other heroes as well. Your game should not be dominated by a playstyle that consists of holding W and mouse 1 if you are truly trying to sell it as an esport. At least not in my opinion. And quite frankly, it's very concerning that Brigitte was out for testing for 61 days with no meaningful changes made to her whatsoever, but then 4 days after she's out on ladder, the first nerfs are already hitting the PTR. Obviously, quick play is never gonna be an indication for whether or not a hero is broken. People don't and shouldn't have to care in a casual game mode. But it makes me wonder if Blizzard is really utilizing their resources properly. They could have had any of their pro players toss in some quick scrims between stages, or even ask some tier 2 players to playtest her in scrims. And I guarantee that they would have pointed out a lot of the things that ladder players are now complaining about. The last thing I want to see is a crowd control creep in Overwatch, in the same vein as we have already witnessed a mobility creep with new heroes and hero changes. Overusing crowd control has ruined many games before Overwatch, and it will ruin this one as well if they keep on adding more. But before I ramble on even longer, I want to take a minute, or maybe 5, to talk about this month's Humble Monthly. I already mentioned it at the beginning. Humble Monthly is a service that delivers a bundle of digital games to you every month, and they always have one or more games as an early unlock to give you a reason to buy it. And this month we got Destiny 2. Now the reason I'm not making a standard ad spot kind of thing for it is because I'm feeling kind of personal about this game. Just last month I picked up Destiny 2 for my PlayStation because it was on sale in a local store for just 17 bucks. For anyone who bought it at launch, you probably got ripped off, but buying it for a price as low as that, I was looking at it completely differently. And honestly, it was a lot of fun. Sure, the story is kind of a meme, but the classes are fun, the gunplay is fantastic, and the gameplay is rather addicting once you get into the loot grind. For what it is, for this price in particular, especially if you can play it with friends, I would highly recommend you guys give it a shot if you have 12 bucks to spare. Because honestly, it's an absolute steal and it can be a lot of fun just on the basis of what it is. Now, full disclosure, of course, I am a humble partner and the link in the description is an affiliate link. No, they do not pay me to advertise the products, but if you buy something using my link, I do get a kickback. So I can advertise it as much, as little, and in the style that I want. But the cool thing about Humble Bundle, and the reason I partner with them, is because for the Humble Monthly, 5% of all the proceeds go to charity, and if you buy any of their ever-changing bundles, you can even decide where all of your money goes. Since 2010, the Humble community has contributed over $126 million to charity, and it even allows a small content creator like myself to try and make a difference. And now that I kinda talk off the cuff anyway, let me just say that you guys are absolutely amazing. Last time I advertised the Humble Creative Freedom Rebundle, you have contributed over $700 to charity. In all honesty, I never thought that we could have raised so much money with our small community. But I am incredibly proud of all of you who chipped in and spread the word. So thanks for supporting me, thanks for supporting charity, and a heartfelt thank you for sticking around as long as you do. And with that said, I'm out for the day. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope to see you all next time.